Hello and welcome to the ultimate Spideydude experience. This episode, we are covering a single issue of Ultimate Spider-Man 2024 number 1. I'm Zach Joyner, webmaster of Spideydude.com. And if you have not already, we have to give our thanks to our friends over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Patrons such as Allison, Cindy, Ed, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Jorgen, Catherine, Kale, Laura Howard, Moose, Master Drammond, Phoenician, Scott, Vanessa, Vicky, and Winnipeg Webhead. Thank you guys for your support over on patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Our spectacular patrons, Sarah Petzel, our friendly neighborhood tiers you see up on the screen if you're watching us live on YouTube, and our Spideydude VIPs. Scott McGraw, Sebastian Vinkman, thank you guys for your support over on Patreon. And if you have not checked out our other fine shows on the channel, or on the network, you got Clone Saga Chronicles, the show all about the 90s Clone Saga and the Clone Saga related characters. Spectacular Radio is the show all about the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series. ASM Classics is the show all about Spider-Man from the beginning, with a father and son duo talking about it from a different perspective. Sal Buscema Era Podcast is about Spider-Man's seminal run with Sal Buscema as the artist on Spectacular Spider-Man. And Voices from the Eyrie Gargoyles Podcast is our podcast all about the Gargoyles animated series and the comics that are published by Dynamite Entertainment. Currently, Dynamite is running a Kickstarter. We'll talk about that a little bit later, probably at the end of the show. Slot Symposium is our show all about the Dan Slott era of Spider-Man. And finally, this sister show, Books of X is our YouTube show that's first on Patreon, covering the Krakoan era of X-Men. And Make Mine Maydays, the sister show of this show here on the channel. Hello, everybody. I'm Zach Joyner. Thank you for watching. If you're watching us live on YouTube, be sure to give us that like, that share, that subscribe. If you have not already, if you're listening to the audio edition, give us that 5-star review and let us know how we're doing by leaving comments down below. I do read all the comments, I promise. And of course, I am joined by Ultimate Neil.
Wait, shit, I was muted. I'm Ultimate. Let's go.
He's been ultimized. And Ultimate Adam. Welcome to the show, Ultimate Adam.
Thank you. I was not expecting that I would have started this Ultimate train, and I'm kicking myself because I didn't do it for the Comic Bin show we did for the Spider-Man Council. So better late than never, I suppose.
Yeah. So if you have not checked that out, it's also available here on the channel. We are live streaming on the Comic Binge YouTube channel. We are also, for the first time, live streaming on Instagram. So if you're watching us on Instagram, welcome.
How's Paul? Is he coming tonight?
I don't know. I haven't heard.
Good for him.
So,
anyways,
I'll probably shoot him a text. So it is a new year. This is our first live stream of the year, but not our first episode of the year, because we have had a great interview that we did with Greg Weisman. If you've not checked that out, talking about the Spectacular Spider-Men, I highly encourage you to do so if you have not already. If you have, thank you. That was a labor of love. There is the overlay you see on the screen. By the way, if you're watching us, if you're listening to the audio edition, pay it no mind. We're gonna have some references to visual aids and/or live comments. We'll probably pull up some panels from the issue we're covering tonight. So pay that no mind if you're listening to us in the audio edition. So we got some comments. Waiting for the show to start. Waiting for day to be not just anyway. One more day. He's got a million one more day jokes. Ryan Reed in the chat. Hello, Ryan, from the Pixel Classroom Podcast. Happy New Year to Vinkman. And it is the Ultimate Crew.
Yes.
So I know our friends over at Crawl Space right now, are, as of this recording, we're talking, JR is waxing poetic about a great Spectacular Spider-Man story. That's nothing to do with this, but hopefully we'll get some people after they're done. All right, so let us talk about this issue, and I'm gonna.
Real quick question: how far back do we want to go? Do we want to go back to 2000? Do we want to go to 2014? Or do we want to go to 2017? Or do we want to go back to 2022 or 2023?
So Neil, I had to have Neil on this episode because
I'm the only one who read Ultimate Invasion.
This is true. I did read the Ultimate Universe one shot as well.
Because I insisted that you read it, and then you're like, fine, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah, so we got a lot of people on X tonight, so thank you for watching us on X, aka Twitter. So I'm gonna share a screen of. Let's see if I can share the screen. We'll see what happens. Share window. There we go. Share.
Well, Venkman says, thanks for making me choose between watching Crawl Space. Listen, it's Spider history. You can go back and listen to it anytime. You can only be here for this, though.
Listen, Venkman, I understand. So peel behind the curtain for a second. My intention was to do this on Thursday. Was my original intention. But some things happened this week personally that threw me for a big loop. I can't talk about it publicly right now. Out of respect for the person that I'm talking about, but I had some pretty bad news in my family pop up, and so that's why we're doing it on Saturday night as opposed to our normal during the week. I try not to do things at the same time as Crawl Space, but it just couldn't be helped. So sorry. So we're gonna be talking about Ultimate Spider-Man. This is the book we're talking about. If you have not picked this up, spoilers ahoy. Okay, it's a review. Neil, give us the rundown of like the setup to this, because it is sort of complicated.
Okay, so back in 2000, there was this thing called the Ultimate Universe. It was, what if we just did Marvel, but edgy? And we brought on Edgelord Supreme Mark Millar to make things super edgy. Think like the Avengers are part of the military-industrial complex. Wolverine is a kind of a creeper. Hank is a serial abuser towards Janet. Captain America is implied to be racist. Oh, and there's incest. That kind of thing. And eventually, the mileage kind of wore out on how far can we go with how edgy this universe is. And in 2015, they literally broke the world by smashing into another planet and the event Secret Wars. Now, for those of you who don't know who the maker is, he's basically just what if Reed Richards, but evil. And he got ported over to Earth 616 alongside Miles Morales and a couple of other hangers-on characters. And then he was like, well, I'm kind of bored here. I want to go back. And so over the course of, I think, Ewing's New Avengers and Cates' Venom run, Maker's goal was kind of to use whatever he could to get back to the Ultimate Universe. And when he got back in Venom number 27, he failed. Or he came back, but the universe was in flames. So, cut to 2023, and our boy Reed Richards has a plan. He breaks out of, I guess, a cube prison, which is just a prison but with white walls instead of concrete. And he goes to Miles Morales' house, says, hey man, I'm dipping, but you're cool. You want to come along, you can. Miles says, no thanks, bro. I'm good here. And then Maker leaves. And he gives the Illuminati a finger before escaping through a portal into a new universe called Earth 6160. And across Ultimate Invasion, he spends the next 20 years kind of getting rid of heroes before they can appear. He stops the Spider from biting Peter. He kills the Fantastic Four. He stops Wasp and Ant-Man from existing. Basically goes the whole 9 yards and stops anything that could stop him. And he consolidates all 7 continents into sort of a miniature cabal/aristocracy. Cut to the present day. He has a giant Jome Dome in the middle of Latveria called the City, and he invites all of his friends to come have a party/Krakoan orgy inside of the dome. And that includes Howard Stark, who is alive and is Iron Man in this universe, while his son Tony is not. During an attack from the future by Kang, using something called the Immortus engine, Obadiah Stane, who is a good guy in this universe, is killed, and Howard Stark takes his place in the Cabal aristocracy as essentially the head of the North American Union. By the way, there is no United States. There's no real any countries that we know in this universe. It's just like 7 major hotspots of power. The Maker goes to Reed and says, or not, he goes to Howard and says, listen, man, I like you. And I'm pretty sure you built this Immortus engine thing that's trying to kill me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you build another one so that I can rule this universe as a crazy petri dish that I can play in. And to help you with that, here's Reed Richardson, a Dr. Doom mask. You'll be great friends, I promise. And so eventually, Howard decides, you know what? I've had enough. I'm stuck in this city, so I'm going to rebel against him. And he gives Reed the completed Immortus engine to give to his son Tony before he locks himself and the Maker inside of the city for, I think it's 20 years. Is that right, Zach?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, or he locks them in. He locks himself and the Maker in the city for an unspecified amount of time. And in the meantime, a teenage Tony, not the one from The Crossing, but a good one.
I was about to make that joke.
You're welcome.
Teen Tony 2. Electric
Iron Man
Boogaloo.
Boogaloo. He becomes Iron Lad, and together he and Dr. Richards decide to set the world right. Their first move in Ultimate Universe #1 is to free Thor from his prison on Asgard, where he was framed for killing Odin. And Sif tags along because like she's doing that honor-bound obligation. Like, I have to watch the prisoner, but I'm okay with y'all doing anarchy shit on Earth. And eventually they find Captain America in the ice, but he's still in the ice. And they go to Maker's Castle in Latveria next to the city, where they find a bunch of reliquaries containing kind of trophies, which are the catalysts that were supposed to give them their powers, the heroes that Maker stole their powers from. But they only managed to get the spider that Peter was supposed to be bitten by before they get attacked by, I guess, Captain Britain, who's French. They're all European, doesn't matter. The Hulk, who I guess is like a monk in this universe, says, well, why don't we do a false flag? Our writer really likes conspiracy theories, so let's just do like the big conspiracy theory and do a false flag terror attack in Manhattan on the middle of giant towers. What could go wrong there? So using a Stark orbital platform, the Hulk blows up like a chunk of Manhattan Island, killing chief among them May Parker, the Osborns, and I think they mentioned Alex Pryor, who I believe is going to be is Havoc in this universe, or would have been Havoc if because his last name is Pryor, and that's Goblin Queen's last name. So, but anyways, Tony Stark's been framed as a mega terrorist, and that is where we pick up.
All right, so
I hope that explanation wasn't confusing at all.
Well, I'm gonna. Yeah, all right. So let's pull up the screen here. We got 20 years ago, the Maker prevented the radioactive spider from biting a young Peter Parker. He likewise prevented the creation of any other superheroes and formed that secret council to rule the world from the shadows. When Tony Stark learned the dark history of his universe, he sought to undo it, prompting Maker's Council to attack Manhattan, killing thousands and frame Stark for it. Peter has lived his life unaware of the Maker's Council or the truth behind the spider, but that is about to change. So Marco Checcetto is the artist. The writer is Johnathan Hickman. The color artist is Matthew Wilson. The letterer is Corey Pettit. Cover artists were Checcetto and Matthew Wilson. Bunch of variants on this first issue. Design is by Jay Bowen. The assistant editor is Michelle Marchese?
I think Marche.
Marche, okay. Will Moss is the editor. Editor-in-chief is C.B. Cebulski. Spider-Man created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. All right, so we pick up to January. We got a disheveled Peter Parker, who, if I had more hair, I could cosplay as with some glasses.
Listen,
And,
man, Party City's just down the road. You could
I know,
get the
right?
wig.
I can get the wig. I should have got the wig, and I should have got some glasses. But anyway, so Peter's getting dressed, puts on his wedding ring? Question mark. Walks in, and he's greeted by not Mayday Parker. And
real quick, can we talk about the fact that these kids got nothing from Peter? Like historically,
those
Peter's...
redheaded genes are strong. like
there is nothing. There is no Parker blood in those kids.
Like I don't know. I don't know if me and Kelly are going to talk about this on Make by Mayday when we do inevitably record our next episode. But like, the redheaded gene, like, yeah. I mean, they both have Mary Jane's eyes. They both are red. Like, it's not the same color red, but it's like, yeah. That's
where the Peter comes in. The Peter comes in because the hair color is slightly different,
and the powers.
It's more strawberry. It's more strawberry. Yeah.
They get some hair and the powers, but everything else is all MJ.
So we got MJ, talking about the kids, and MJ all look at Peter like, dude, you look like hell. And so Peter didn't sleep. We then cut to Annie holding this spherical piece.
Annie.
May. It's May. I'm sorry. I just see redhead girl, and I think Annie May Parker, not May Parker.
She's got Peter's magic snow globe in her hands, and Peter's like, "Nuh-uh, gimme. That's mine.
That's not a toy." So then we get J. Jonah Jameson yelling, Parker, and then Peter's like, "What's going on, Morden?" And it's not Peter Parker that he's yelling, like we normally are accustomed to. No, it is Ben Parker, the managing editor of the Daily Bugle. So, bit of
the main character of the book.
The unexpected main character of the book, I might say. We then get a bit of witty banter between JJ, Peter, and Ben. JJ then puts a tie on because there's a memorial.
Hang on, Zach. Hang on. Let's not do story time. Let's just do a recap because
So we get the memorial. We get Harry Osborn speaking at the memorial. We get Father Murdoch speaking at the memorial. So things that are fundamentally different. Eventually, there is a meeting between the board of directors and Jonah.
Well, you forgot to point out that one of the guys who's there is one Harry Osborn. Without his drip, his waves are gone.
Yeah, the wavy hair is not there. Sorry, Waylon just decides to kick things into the floor because he just can. So sorry about the commotion. Anyway, so memorial ends. Jonah ends up quitting the Bugle. Robbie is a part of the board of directors. We learn. Turns out the Bugle is being bought by one Wilson Fisk, potentially Bullseye. Then there's a bit of a attack on Wilson Fisk via the Green Goblin. We get Ben and Jonah trying to figure out their next steps, which is going to be coming up with a newspaper named The Truth. Peter,
is that what it's going to be called?
Yes,
that makes sense.
And so Peter's talking with Ben about how he feels restless, how he feels listless in life, that he feels like he's missing something in his life. So Peter, he's been dreaming, and so Ben tells him to wake up. Later on, there's a conversation between MJ and Peter. Peter then goes out. Basically, MJ says, "Look, do what you got to do, and go get him, Tiger." So Peter goes outside. We see a flashback to the previous night where this magic box, is
a message comes out from Teen Tony going, Peter, listen, stop banging your hot wife. Join the squad of crazy people. Join the schizo squad.
Yep. So the turns out this the spherical orb by Teen Tony is a big old blob of black.
It's a Picotech stealth suit.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, isn't
it? Yes.
Okay.
And so there's also a radioactive spider that Peter willingly gets bitten by, and it is the end of the beginning. So next issue, he wakes up. So, all right. So, we got people in the watching us via Twitch.
We got Twitch boys. What's up?
We got a lot of people. We got a good amount of people. Even Andrew.
Hi,
hello, Andrew. Hello, everybody. So that is essentially what happens in the issue. I didn't put all of it up there, but I highly encourage everybody to go read it.
Pick it up. It's good.
It is a great book. They are about to do a second printing, so if it's not at your local comic shop, the second printing is coming. So I'm
Valentine's Day.
You can go pick it up. I think it's highly successful launch, and so this is a bit of a, like I say, it's a bit of a different world here. Zach is shocked.
A bit like look.
No, it's
wow. Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Thanks, Walter. But like I say, I really enjoy this first issue. Let me count the pages though, because it's a little bit oversized.
It's like 40.
Is it a 40-page issue?
Yeah.
It's like, hang on, I think it's
like
44?
40. Yeah, 44.
Counting double page spreads and not double page spreads, credits page, cover, and back.
You know what I kind of appreciate is there's no big thing at the end like you just read the first issue of this new thing. It's just like next issue.
That's what we talked about. I kind of wish we talked about it during Books of X, but they did a really similar thing during House and Powers.
Yeah, they did.
Where they didn't like hype up like, wow, isn't this book so awesome?
Yeah.
Go pick up the next one. It just says next issue. Everything dies.
Yeah, for all the ultimate stuff too. You know, I wonder.
It's like an ad, yeah.
But I do wonder if this is going to like what the shelf life of this is, because I like it, but I wonder if this is going to be just like a big event, you know, and it'll be like.
Well, they've got like 4 of the titles planned, so I think it's going to last for at least a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I guess it feels like because of the makers' machinations, like it feels
he's gonna come out of the city eventually.
Yeah, it feels like it's all going to build, like that's going to be the big event, is like, oh, everyone's gonna eventually team up to fight the maker or something.
I figure that's going to be a year from now. I think they're gonna that's going to be like where the story slowly builds.
Like
but each book
or something.
Making War instead of the Reckoning War. It's a Dan Slott reference.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, but I look.
Anyway.
So what do you about this issue? As I tilt my camera.
Where'd Adam go? Adam.
Oh, you want me to give my thoughts?
Yeah,
Adam, give your thoughts first.
No, we brought you on here so you could listen to us.
There's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot to talk about. What I think is cool is the change seems to be the big theme of the book. This is a very different world than what we're used to. People are gone. Some people are gone. Some people are still here.
Yeffa are dead, so we're never going to see them. We have Reed. We have Reed. So
and I think it's interesting because I sometimes think that the relatability factor of Peter Parker and Spider-Man is overblown, but I feel personally like this is just in this one issue, this is the most relatable Peter has been in like a long time, because he doesn't feel fulfilled. And I think a lot of people
Zach, what are you doing?
now can
I'm trying to get the cover back up. Give me a second.
I got it.
I feel like a lot of people now can find what was I just lost the word, but a lot of people find truth in that these days. Specifically, a lot of people feel kind of lost, like they're not living up to their full potential. There's something missing. And I just think it's perfectly showcased through Peter's thoughts throughout the whole book. And I like the destiny aspect, like, your destiny's been robbed from you, your future has been taken from you. I like Uncle Ben and Mary Jane kind of steering him in the right direction. I feel like, whenever someone has a big decision to make, it's nice to have someone to talk to about it, to reassure you that you're doing the right thing, that you're making the right choice. And yeah, I don't know. It's a very emotional issue in unexpected places. Thinking,
I was shocked by the maturity of Peter and MJ's discussion. Like
Yeah.
whenever I see people talk about like what they would do if they brought back the marriage or how to fix ASM, historically it's just, oh, we'll bring back the marriage, and I don't really think much further than that.
Mhm.
What I thought was interesting was that, for one thing, Peter's and MJ's marriage is kind of just like an afterthought. Hickman's like, okay, he's married, fine, let me talk about Jonah and Ben. I want to talk about those two guys.
Yeah.
But like the maturity that Peter and MJ have during their conversation was very palpable to me. Like, it felt like a conversation a real married couple would have, and not just like a comic book couple.
Yeah.
Which I think there's a distinct difference.
And it's like, and it's also because it's like, I finally read it today. I was holding off. I was like, all right, like I was waiting for the right moment. I kind of heard all these spoilers, but it's about the journey sometimes, like, how does this play out?
Mhm.
So there weren't really a lot of surprises, but like I said, it gets emotional throughout, just like I guess it's the strength of how the characters are written. And I'm thinking back on stuff and like rereading just little passages again before we record, and it's like wow, that actually it hits harder reading it again for me. And just thinking about it, like, Peter's talking to Mary Jane about, I need to change, and she's like, well, is this going to affect us at all? And he says never, and she's like, well, go do it. And it's just like, damn.
Well, you kind of touched upon it, Adam, but I love the idea of, like, this is essentially like a Gen Z powered fantasy.
I'd say millennial gens. It's in the,
I think
he's 35.
You want so bad for it to be Gen Z, but I think it's more millennial.
It can be both. It can be both.
This is me and Zach. Yeah, it can be both. But this is like me and he's me and Zach's age. So
that's true. I'm mostly thinking about it from the lens of when you look at Ultimate Invasion broadly. I have that kind of perspective because I read Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe. That ultimately, Hickman's Ultimate Invasion is a kind of, not want to say a cautionary tale in the same way that his X-Men run is, but more of a, I hesitate to say manifesto, but the politics of Ultimate Invasion kind of dictate it. That, like, the handful of people have consolidated power and kind of turned off the tap for anybody else. There's no random variables allowed, so that they can continue to be wealthy and powerful instead of helping to save the world. And the ending of Ultimate Spider-Man, you'll notice that for a lot of the book, the colors are very dark and cold, but the minute Peter lets that spider bite him, the last page is like very warm. It's got lots of yellows and oranges against that concrete, and it's like that moment where Peter's allowed to reclaim his power and do something and finally get the change he feels like he's been missing his whole life. I don't want to say it didn't make me cry, but it's a very powerful moment when you kind of step back and analyze why that page works so well. It is essentially,
but it's also it's like the sun is rising, and it is the beginning of a new day.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And the color palette's kind of similar with the conversation between Ben and Jonah, the yellow hues, and because it's really their rebirth. It's righteous power. It's righteous power.
The issue is just all about change. Like, there's change of the Daily Bugle, and Jonah and Ben are gonna go and do their own thing. They need a change. Like, they're gonna do it right this time, or at least try to. It's very interesting.
I kind of mentioned the idea that like the Makers Council, who I guess also kind of includes Kingpin now because he's controlling the narrative of what happened during the Stark attack.
Yeah, that's the reason he's buying the Bugle.
Yeah, you'll notice that you mentioned like the idea we've kind of crossed the streams of like my theory of like how power is consolidated versus like the way Uncle Ben and Jonah are framed. It's autocratic power versus righteous power. That Uncle Ben and Jonah have the power to enact change for the betterment of society, to quote the Joker. Whereas
and George Costanza.
I hope you guys aren't really doing this. Whereas the Maker's power is autocratic, but not for any real reason. It's simply for power's sake. That wealth isn't going towards anything. Simply, it's to consolidate and hold on to it. Whereas Peter's is to help inspire others and lift them up.
Sure. Yeah.
It is essentially a millennial story. You are correct that it is millennial.
It's Gen's. It's both.
But I have seen a lot of people in their 20s. I think that's the power of it, is that it's is that it crosses generational gaps. Like I've seen a lot of people in their 20s and 30s talk about how the idea of something missing in their lives and getting a chance to take it back is kind of cross-generational, and that's why so many people across those age ranges are resonating with the character.
I think, like I said, this is you want to talk about Peter Parker and relatability. I think just this issue it's the most relatable he's been over the past 3 years.
It depends on. I kind of view Spencer's Peter as being relatable in a very superficial sense. There's not really a theme to his relatability, but this one feels like there's a sincerity to why Peter feels lesser, and the spider bite and Tony's message of like I'm coming in 6 months and I want you to join me to make things right. There's
coming in the next arc.
6 months. There's a sincerity to that relatability, and not just like, oh, I do the funny haha and I bang the redhead.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing. Like the way the world is right now, just a lot of people feel like, they feel like something's missing. They feel like they want more, or they need to be doing more.
They feel like they should be further along in their life than they are.
Yeah. They want more than what they currently have, just based on a feeling of, well, I'm working so hard. Like, why isn't this happening to me? Like, why am I not fulfilled?
And Radiac brings up a good point in that technically 6160 Peter is technically living a very ideal life.
Yeah.
But it's not the life he's made for. Like he's happy with MJ. I kind of want to bring that across, is that he's not unhappy with his life, but he knows there's something missing, and he needs that. He needs to be I guess given his agency back by Tony to kind of rock the boat in a way that lets him stay a family man, but also be himself. And Radiac kind of brought that up. We're kind of in the all about it's millennials and Gen Z and feeling kind of adrift, because even though he's got a job, he's got a family, his purpose is missing, and this is what gives it to him. And that's why I think the idea of Peter not actually having the Spider-Man costume for the first couple of issues is a cool idea in theory. I'm not sure how it's going to be in practice, but I like the idea. Like we saw it with like the variant covers, like it transforms into the Ben Reilly suit, the black suit, and the 2099 suit. Mm-hmm. Is that it lets him choose what he wants to be.
Right. Yeah. I actually kind of like the all black with the eyes.
I think it's a great piece of imagery.
You could just you could just put like the spider on the front and back and call it a day there, and I'd probably be fine with that.
And Exiles, you're correct in our phrasing that he says he himself should be more, not that he needs more.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fundamental difference in how that is phrased. So thank you for correcting us on that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We'll try and correct course on that. I liked Ben and Jonah. My only negative for this issue is that like it feels like there's a lot of setup.
My two dads.
And it's I mean, you saw that picture of them in the steam room from next issue.
Oh yeah, I did, yeah.
Listen, May's not dead, so it's not Brokeback Mountain just yet. It's only Brokeback Mountain when there's infidelity.
It is interesting that Ben is like he's kind of not that warm, I would say. He's not cold, but he's like
his wife got blown up.
Yeah. Well, no, but I just mean like toward Peter and like he loves Peter obviously, but he's like and he says like, oh, May was better with the emotional stuff or whatever.
He's more of like I don't want to say tough love father figure, but he's much more stone cold bastion.
He's
of righteous,
a little more stern, maybe.
Which I'm fine with. I think that they do mention that Peter in this universe moved in with Ant-Man and Uncle Ben like when he was 15.
Yeah.
So they didn't have Peter to raise as their own since he was like 3. Yeah. So it makes sense, I think, why he doesn't have that same fatherly warmth for Peter that he does in 616. I'm not doing Jackpot again. I wrote a whole ass essay on Jackpot. I'm not going back again.
Who's asking about Jackpot?
Walter was asking for the next show to be an in-depth review of Jackpot. Because
listen. I made that joke because I had a obvious YouTube short that did pretty well. I have no desire to do a deep dive of that single issue. Like, to me, so
let me put it this way. If you guys want to see me go in depth on Jackpot, I don't say like go to a Patreon and sub, but if you really want to hear like in-depth thoughts on my thoughts on Jackpot and why I think it is kind of ultimately the culmination of the heat death of comics as a medium, go to the crawl space and listen to the Patreon episode where we talk about Jackpot. What were you about to ask me, Zach? I'm sorry, you muted. Or
I was gonna say, give me your overall thoughts on this book.
It was on Ultimate or Jackpot?
This book, not that book. This book, the book we have up on screen.
Okay. Great start that I think is actually really enhanced by like you don't need Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe to get into it, but I think it enhances the story and kind of plays into the cosmic destiny and reclamation of power theme. So I would recommend buying this if you can. Sorry.
I thought that was going to be more than that, but okay.
Oh, you asked for my thoughts on it. Or
no, like I figured there was going to be so. You grew up on Ultimate Spider-Man, if I recall, right?
Kind of.
You went back and read it. That was one of the first things you went back and read after, because you started during Brand New Day, right?
Yeah, my main books were ASM and kind of Spider-Girl, and then when I got aware of the wider Marvel universe and like what different imprints were, I went back and reread Ultimate.
See, I'm one of those. I started with Ultimate a little late. I didn't start with issue 1, but I got The first book I got was issue 8. Issue 9 had sold out at my comic shop, but starting with issue 10 all the way forward, I got Ultimate. I like it fine because it's an alternate universe. And I don't get into the whole they were trying to replace it with the Marvel universe, and that may have been true to a certain point, probably with Jameis in charge. But over time, obviously, the imprint got so unwieldy with its own continuity.
And edgy, overly edgy and trigger.
The Ultimatum and when Jeff Loeb got involved, everything went to shit. I'm sorry, it did. My controversial thesis is that aside from Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate kind of was a disaster waiting to happen, because and not to be like the Mark Millar bad guy, but Mark Millar is kind of ultimately like the epitome of like someone you shouldn't give an entire line of comics to and see what he can do with them, because ultimately he'll make the edgiest schlock available. And like the way he treats characters like Wolverine, who does things that I dare not repeat on this show lest we get demonetized for hate speech. And then like I said, the way he treats Ant-Man, the way he treats Wasp, like the way he treats almost every character is like, what if I just made them edgy? And what if I made them the most unlikable people in the universe? And to be frank, there is only so far you can go with unlikable characters, because none of these characters go through an arc to become more likable. They just remain unlikable until they die. Well, visually, I think the Ultimate Universe is important because a lot of the designs, a lot of the core of it, visually speaking, with Brian Hitch, get brought forth to the MCU. But outside of that, that's it.
And frankly, I don't think you need the Ultimate Universe to inform the design language of the MCU. At some point, the MCU just becomes essentially military fiction, and you can do that without the Ultimates. Ultimates just kind of helps you. It's like the walker you get when you break your leg. You can probably walk without it, but it kind of helps inform the process.
Well, I mean, things like Nick Fury being black, the changes that they made, ultimately being based on Samuel L. Jackson's likeness. Those were things that were brought forth. I mean, the egg came before the chicken, right? But what I like is that there is a subtle connection to the previous Ultimate Universe, but it's not important.
It's barely even there. Like, it's just the maker.
Right. But without the make, I mean, I like the fact that there is at least a tie to the original Ultimate Universe for me personally.
I think it works. My question is, like, why did they drop? I mentioned earlier, the maker had gone to Earth 1610, and then for whatever reason, he's back in he's naked in his magic cube box that the Illuminati trapped him in, and I'm trying to figure out like what happened in between then. In between Venom number 27, Ultimate Invasion number 1, did Donny Cates get hit by a car in Earth 616? And that's why did the maker hit Donny Cates with the car? Or
I mean, I remember he brought it back because I remember seeing like Bagley draw like Ultimate Peter Parker being with the Ultimates, which was always the end game.
That was Bendis. That was in that was Spider-Man 2.
Oh, was that in Spider-Man 2? Okay, I couldn't remember if that was Cates or who that was.
Because I think 616 Miles went to 1610 to work with 1610 Kingpin, and then the Ultimates were there, and I guess everything was a happy ending. But then in Venom number 27, Maker goes to 1610, and everything's in ruin. And I'm wondering if, like, originally the plan was for Cates to do a "What Did Peter Do" of the Earth 1610, and like fill in the gaps. And then, like, he had his accident, they just gave it to Hickman because they didn't want him going over to DC for his Legion of Superheroes pitch.
Well, I mean, look, I can't speak to that. But what I can say is I feel like this does a really good job of making Peter feel like an everyman. And somebody brought, I think it was Radiac, that brought up the whole predestined thing. The good thing when you're doing an imprint such as this and doing a story such as this is you can take the best things and get and take the best things, add them in there, and then you don't got to worry about any of the other fluff. The similarities.
Sorry.
I have the similarities that I think are occurring with the thing that I liked about the original Bendis run, the original, this one, Power and Responsibility trade I have, is that Uncle Ben got to be a character, not a plot device.
Sure, yeah.
And
he is kind of a prop in Earth 616.
He is. I mean, he's merely a plot device. He's not a character.
It's a 10-page story.
He's a good prop, but he's a prop nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean,
that happened to unfortunately get tacked onto a 60-year-old character who will never stop bringing him up.
I mean, so by taking the time that they did in 2000, they allowed people it to be impactful that Ben Parker's death is even more impactful. And here, the plot twist of May being dead, which you guys know how I feel about Aunt May. I don't like Aunt May generally.
Bye, bitch.
So Uncle Ben being alive, I think, is a really interesting dynamic. I like the scenes with Jonah and Ben. I mean, you joked that he was kind of the star of the issue, but it's like, it's refreshing to see Ben Parker that's not like jaded, that's not hiding in a bunker, that's not, a homicidal clone or a homicidal doppelganger. Like we've seen Ben Parker over the years, and it's it's interesting to me that they chose to keep him alive here. And I really like the fact that him and Jonah have this relationship, and Jonah I think kind of treats Peter like a bit of a mentor.
Yeah, I like that. Like Uncle Ben isn't Peter's surrogate father because Peter already had a dad. Uncle Ben doesn't try to be dad to Trouble Boogaloo.
I like the fact that he was brought to May and Ben, 20 years beforehand, and he was a teenager. He's not a baby, so they weren't, like you say, raising him. He was already raised by Richard and Mary.
And I kind of wanted to bring this up that I was talking about this on the Crawl Space Discord, that Uncle Ben has kind of transcended from kind of informing Peter's moral framework to kind of becoming Peter's moral framework. Every time Peter has a dilemma now in 616, just what would Uncle Ben say? And then he just does what Uncle Ben would do.
Uncle Ben is his Jesus. WWBD. What would Ben do?
Peter has a come to Ben moment. But I like in this universe that Peter already has sort of a moral framework established because he wasn't raised by Uncle Ben. So Peter's he's able to come to Uncle Ben for advice, like in the I feel like I'm missing something that's part of me, and Uncle Ben's able to kind of give him what he needs to make that choice, but it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily, he has to go through like his wife and get his assurances that she'll be okay with it before he can do it. And I like that. Like I said, this feels much more like a married, this feels much more like a married man who has to who chooses to make decisions with his spouse's, opinion before he just makes them unilaterally, which unfortunately in some people's fan fiction, like Peter would just do something and MJ would be totally okay with it. no, I like that Peter goes to MJ first and talks to her, and she has some reservations about it because she's worried it'll impact what they have, but ultimately she supports him. I appreciated that.
Yeah, to me, like you say, it felt authentic. MJ, the you know,
that son is dying. That son is dying. By the way, I'm calling it.
No, I honestly, I'll tell you what I think. I think Harry kills Uncle Ben.
Oh,
as Peter gets too close to he gets too close to the truth about the Stark Stain thing.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen.
I didn't think I don't know. I feel like they gave Jonah and Ben too much to do before kind of knocking them off. But
well, I think it might. I don't know if it'll be this arc. We don't. Well, yeah, because we don't really.
You know what it might be. So I think that because we have an Ultimates title on the way. The guy who wrote 20th Century Men is writing it, and I think that potentially whatever happens in Ultimate Spider-Man will impact his decision not to join the Ultimates. I don't think he'll join the Ultimates. I think he will be this I'm doing things my way kind of guy because that's what Hickman has given him. Sort of a way to make his own identity, and I don't think he would just join the Ultimates simply so he could be a soldier in some time war.
Yeah.
No, I don't disagree. I think I think it's going to be again. We haven't talked about it yet, but Checchetto's artwork I think is stunning throughout the entire book. I liked Checchetto as far back as when he was introduced during Brand New Day with
the Punisher stuff.
No, that was before the Punisher stuff.
Oh, I'm thinking I'm thinking of the Punisher one before.
He did
before All New.
Yeah. That it's around that era. But
I'm thinking was he Grim Hunt?
He did part of Grim Hunt. He did, but he did the reappearance of Kane, the first appearance of Kane in during Brand New Day. During the whole Who Has Been Riley storyline. Okay. So it was just after 600. It was like 610 to 612, I think. And I loved his work on Spidey. And he also did
he did Superior Team Up, right?
He did do parts of Superior Team Up. He did the issue with Kang and Otto fighting each other. Which was a lot of fun. So
I think he was the main artist because I know he did the stuff with Kane and Otto, but I think he also did like the Sun Girl and the Superior 6 stuff.
Yeah, he did several issues, but I distinctly remembered the in Ultimate Team, Superior Team Up. Yeah, he was one of the artists. I think there was like 3 or 4. In fact, Ron Friends did like a 2-issue arc that was
he did like the last arc before Superior ended, where like Norman just gives Otto's girlfriend HIV or something. That was funny.
Well, and which was honestly a deep cut because Otto's girlfriend got HIV. Like we found out that the woman that he first fell in love with got HIV in his origin issue in Spider-Man Unlimited number 3.
Oh yeah,
and he was the whole crux of that issue was he was trying to find a cure for HIV so he could save the woman that he first met at the research facility.
But because Marvel has to be the word outside your window, we can't have a cure for HIV.
It's a great issue written by Tom DeFalco. Ron Lim was the artist on that. It was great. It's a great book. You need to go find it in your dollar bin. That is definitely a book worth getting. But digressing, I think the artwork is great. I think the story is interesting and intriguing. And I want to stress this, and you and I have talked about this, Neil. This is another flavor of ice cream. If you want this to replace your ASM pool,
great. It's not going to replace Amazing.
It's not editorially. Amazing is going to continue being amazing and doing its thing, and this is going to be able to do its thing. Nick Lowe's not in charge. This is
It's
something
the
the Marvel.
Avengers. If you like Jed McKay's Avengers and how it's edited, you'll probably like this book. If you haven't read it,
it's under the same editorial purview. So like we're gonna eat good. We're gonna have this. We're about to have Spectacular Spider-Man. We got DeMatteis coming back for a miniseries. Outside ASM, we're gonna be eating good. And the Web of Spider-Man thing looks interesting. I am interested to see what that entails in March. So,
isn't that just like a one shot to prep people for like it's sort of like that one shot they do whenever they line wide relaunch.
The point one, it's like the point one launch
just for the Spider-Man line,
but for Spider-Man line, yeah. And it's not going to be the Free Comic Book Day issue, although I think that it may tie into it.
I don't think so.
Somebody asked me earlier on that other stream with Crawl Space. I was in the comments if I was going to be reading that Ben and Kane story. I'm like, yes, we will be covering it probably here. So if it's
Greg Land, oh boy,
things I'm not excited about. We'll see it. We'll see how well it's written. But like I say, this book. It's a good book. It's a really good book. It's a solid start. I think our buddy JR didn't think he gave it an I for incomplete because he was waiting for the story to start.
Well, that's my one flaw with this book is that it does feel a little setup-ish. Which if you have read a Hickman book before, you'll get used to the feeling. Welcome to the life of a Hickman fan, where you're just getting set up for like 90% of the run, and then the last 10% is payoff. If you get the payoff.
That's why I'm just thinking like, because obviously this isn't going to replace ASM. And, if it's a lot of setup, I feel like it is going to be like.
I feel bad for Adam because he keeps getting.
It's going to be just this big event. You know what I mean? And it's going to have a limited. It's going to ride high, but it's going to burn really brightly. But it's going to just be kind of maybe.
There we go. We'll make Adam big.
It's going to have just this beginning, middle, end that lasts like 2 or 3 years, which I'm fine with, honestly.
That's 36 issues. That's a decent run.
That's great. Like I'd love that, but I'm just saying, like I wonder, like I just wonder about it, like.
Or they'll relaunch in a year from now, and they'll do a Shiny New #1 January of next year, and then we'll do it again.
Something I want to point out is do not expect this to outlive the shelf life of the Ultimate Universe writ large. Like this,
right? Yeah, like this isn't getting 100 issues. I don't think.
I meant like the Ultimate Universe that it's part of. Like if Ultimates flops or Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate X-Men don't like last long. Do not expect Ultimate Spider-Man to last much longer past that. Because they're really writing on this being in kind of an interconnected universe where plot points from one book tend to impact the rest once Ultimates comes into the picture. So if you guys want this to succeed, buy this book for one thing, but also think about looking at the others. Like I've made a commitment when they were announced that I was going to check out Ultimate Black Panther, and once Ultimates gets solicited and officially solicited, because the writer already said he's doing it.
Yeah.
But once it gets solicited, I've already told my comic shop, can you put me on there for polls when it comes out? Because ultimately giving the company what we want, or giving the company money for what we want, is going to be paramount to making sure this succeeds and getting more adventures.
Yeah, and look, I think the element for me that I think people need to understand. Marvel is committed to what they've been doing for the last almost 18 years now.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's not going to change anytime soon. I know people wanted to change, and we were hoping for change with Spencer, and I get that. And I read this week's Gang War issue. We'll cover it next week at our normal time.
Man,
that one was probably the most decompressed issue I've read in a long time. Of amazing. So just to give people a heads up, I'm not hating on Gang War. I don't misunderstand. but this was definitely a breath of fresh air. And then learning what we learned in the last episode with the Weisman interview, I'm really looking forward to the Miles Peter dynamic and how
they released a trailer and it looks really good.
Yeah. The trailer's on. You can go to the front page of Spideydude.com. It's towards the very top of the page, and you can watch the press releases there. And I have the trailer embedded into the post, so you can go check that out. So, for those that read it in the comments section, let us know what you think. I don't think we're gonna get a Paul tonight. So,
yeah, I think he's not here.
Hey, we got a new subscriber. Hello.
What was that out?
Subscribe to the channel.
I just wanted to say, I was thinking about it. It's like, oh yeah, this is set up, and well, it's the first issue, but it also does feel like the first episode of a new TV show,
Like in the prestige, like in this prestige format or the syndicated?
I'd say prestige. Yeah, no,
Okay.
this is like an HBO show, here's Peter Parker, here's his daily life, and he's got a loving family. And, yeah.
And Exiles is correct. Exiles is correct. 30 issues is kind of what we should be wanting from it. I think it's probably going to last at least a year, maybe more. I think considering how well it sold out, because it sold out at at the store level and not just at the distributor level. Really, just a 7. What? Real quick, do we ever do grades? I don't think we
haven't done grades yet. So let's do our grades really quick. Neil, hang on. Before you do that, let me get into my little folder.
Okay.
Neil's grade. What is it?
A-.
Hey, I don't have to change anything.
Yeah, let's go.
Where is Adam? Adam, your grade.
A.
A-.
Despite one word, like near the end, there's a word missed. There's a thing when Tony's like, the Tony recording is talking to Peter, and like someone forgot to, like Hickman forgot to write a word, but that's okay. It's a common mistake. But also, a little trivia fact: my birthday is in this issue twice.
Yo,
nice.
Let's go.
My grade.
Yeah, it's an A. It's nice. I'm looking forward to more.
My grade is an A, so that is my grade for the issue.
I do think a lot of your mileage will come from how much setup you can take, but also
right. It's a lot of character building, though. Like I think we were talking about that on the comic binge, maybe like after the show. Like we were telling Nico about it. Like it's like, oh, there's not a lot of action, very character focused, setting things up.
Yeah.
Neil, do you have Javi's thing? I'm trying to look for it on my computer. I don't know where I put it.
Oh yeah, we got to do Javi's thing.
Let me pull it up in Gmail. So I actually wanted to bring up a theory that Tyler, aka Symbio Bro, and I have been kind of bouncing around. And that is the idea that the Picotech suit that Peter uses it got from Tony is going to be the Venom symbiote.
Uh-oh.
Because you'll notice that the way the suit is formed before it gets on him is like a really solid ball, like a really small black ball. And you'll notice that's how the suit first appeared, or the symbiote first appeared when Peter summoned it in Secret Wars in the machine.
Okay.
Hang on, it's uploading. Or it's downloading to my computer.
Okay, hang on. I might be able to airdrop it.
I've already got it. Or you just airdropping it to yourself?
Yeah, I'm airdropping it to myself. I'm airdropping it from my phone to my Mac. So give us just a second. So Javi couldn't be on the episode tonight. And so he has
to work. He has to, save lives,
be a dispatcher, make sure people are, getting the ambulances and police officers to the right spot. All right, so all right, Neil.
This comment on screen here, like,
go ahead and read that out loud for our audio listeners.
Fantastic issue has completely sold me on USM. I also do have to wonder if a lot of the opinions on this book are as high as they are because ASM just hasn't been very good for a long time. I think that is part of it. Yeah.
I think part of it is I think if you're like me and you get your reading from can I not add in video clips? Is it too long?
Because it's it's because it's in MOV. I'm gonna convert it with the media encoder. Hang on.
Okay.
Had I known that, I would have.
Damn. Okay. I think if you're like me and you get your kicks out of cosmic bullshit, you'll enjoy it a bit more because you have the knowledge of Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe going into it. And if you enjoy the Maker, you'll probably enjoy it too. Especially if you like long-term mystery plot. No, not really a mystery, but like you're interested in seeing where the story will go.
I do think that a lot of fans are disgruntled with how ASM is currently over the past couple years. So, like Peter, they feel like something's missing and they don't know what it is. And I think this is just scratching the itch for people. I think I think people ultimately want a change in Spider-Man and, like the issue, like the theme of this issue. And I think the issue is giving people an alternative that's different, that is going to fill that void and give people something that they're not expecting, that they can look forward to, I guess.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting on that to encode, just a minute, give us some more comments, guys. Said Parker Luck, Matt Bird, just read this last Wednesday morning and I really enjoyed it quite a lot. He gave it an A. Anybody else read it? Throw us your comments in there and I'll remove my grade.
We love reading your comments. We read all comments.
We do read every bit of the comments. Now, do they always go up on screen? That'd be no.
No.
But
we do try.
We do read them all. We do try to read them all.
I did want to say it was interesting that I was talking about how, Uncle Ben, he's a little more stern, a little, he's not quite as warm, but there's a reason for that, and he's still like, loves Peter and everything, but it's a different relationship. And it's interesting how Jonah is like, he's kind of living up to the Jolly Jonah nickname in this. He's a little more toward Peter. He seems a little more.
He's like a father figure to Peter, kind of.
Yeah, like I said, my two dads.
Like I was kind of joking that this is gonna be Brokeback Mountain, but with old people.
It's like, are people shipping this already?
Yes,
let us know.
Oh
no! Why are we no?
Because old man Yowie sells.
Damn.
Have you been to Japan?
No, I have not. I cannot. Oh, that's hilarious. Sorry, I've got the game on, which is why I think Paul's not on the episode.
Don't show Zach the Crunchyroll top recommended for women.
And well, I don't care.
You know what I just realized? You know how I made the connection that like the suit might be the Venom symbiote? I think that his son might become Venom.
Oh no. Eddie Brock 2, Venom Boogaloo.
Eat people Boogaloo.
Exiles says, he loves how Peter doesn't need to learn that with great power there must also come great responsibility, because he already has great responsibility. He just never had the power.
And that's actually a pretty neat twist on like how generally people try to subvert Spider-Man with like all the power, none of the responsibility stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what they ran with Kane. That was like literally Kane's tagline.
Yeah.
And then they tried to do something similar with Otto, but it's kind of a neat little twist on that.
This Peter is all responsibility, no power until.
Well, no, I don't actually know Radiac. That's just me making a very educated guess off of visual cues.
Yeah, it's possible. They did. I mean, I feel like the variant covers for this showing the 29.9 suit, the Ben suit, and the black suit. I think my theory was, people were like, "Oh, does this have anything to do with anything? Is it going to be Hickman multiverse shenanigans? Is it going to be able to time reality jump or like somehow summon the
quantum leap?"
Suits? Yeah. And I just thought it's just a cute, cool thing to do for this new Spider-Man #1.
No, Zach, I already told Radiac that I don't know. I'm just making an educated guess.
Just put 3 of the most popular suits as variants for the cover of this new Spider-Man #1, but you never know. Like maybe Neil is onto something with his stealth suit being the symbiote. I guess we shall see.
I've been joking that the sun is gonna die because obviously Hickman's got him waxing poetic and reading Tale of Two Cities, and
right.
That.
Well, see, that's why I don't know. I don't know about killing. I don't think that's the thing
something's gonna happen to that kid. He's too ginger to live.
I don't think you kill the kids. I think you kill Uncle Ben, and then
someone's dying for Peter's man pain.
It's full circle. Hopefully, it's not Mary Jane, because that just sucks. And
that would be hilarious, because everyone made a huge deal out of OMG guys, marriage coming back, and then immediately she dies 6 issues in.
If this isn't the biggest bag over the head punch in the face.
If this isn't the biggest get moment of my life.
Hang on, guys. I'm still trying to get this thing to work.
Hey, what if I just put my phone up to it and played it from there?
Here, I'll pull it up on my tablet, and then
you probably have better sound on that thing than I do.
Yeah, because it's gonna have surround sound. So we pull it up on the tablet.
Also, I think I brought it up earlier, but I really do appreciate how Hickman doesn't make a big deal out of Peter and MJ being married. He's just kind of okay, they're married, move along. Don't think too hard about it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to make a big deal about it. That is a good thing.
And that's part of why I think Renew Your Vows kind of flopped after the first issue. I think part of it was also because they just wanted Peter to be a family man with kids who didn't have powers, and his wife didn't have powers. But I think part of it is also that they kind of beat you over the head with wow, aren't we so great married? We're so great when we're married. We're so great together, guys. Aren't we so awesome? Wow.
I mean, I still liked the first year of that book, but I didn't. After the time skip, I didn't keep reading.
I liked it. I'm just saying that there wasn't a lot of substance to the book other than, look, guys, the marriage is back. Aren't you happy? Buy the book.
I mean, the art was great. Stegman's art was really great at that time. That was very refreshing.
It was post injured hand, pre being overworked on Venom.
So I'm gonna download it, and I think I'll be able to play it through the Rodecaster. So we'll see. I can do it via Bluetooth. So continue talking. Just give me a heads up.
But yeah,
canon event, baby.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
what did you guys think of Fisk? Do you think Fisk is part of the Maker's Council deliberately, or is he just an asshole for the sake of being evil?
I'm gonna go toward the latter, just to kind of keep it more Spider-Man centric.
Not everything is tied to the Maker.
Yeah, I'll say that.
I think Harry is tied to the Maker stuff, though, because if you look closely on the #2 cover, his armor has a Stark Stain Bathworks emblem on it.
I think you can see that there's a splash page of him in this issue, and I think you can see that on there too.
Yeah, so I think that even if Harry isn't tied into the Maker's subplot, there's parts of his origins that are tied into the Stark terror attack thing. Oh, was the game over, Zach? Is that why you're texting him?
Yeah, because the game.
Also, I gotta say, so I redeemed the digital code in this issue for Marvel Unlimited. The Unlimited comics version sucks. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, I've been noticing that when I'm using the guided view and lately, because I've been doing a read through of ASM, and I'm doing ASM and Spectacular. I did not read Marvel Team Up, Paul. I already know. You should read Marvel Team Up. I don't care about Marvel Team Up. Marvel Team Up sucks.
Well, that's just like that's like the fourth Spider-Man book, though.
It was the third until Web of Spider-Man came out. Web of Spider-Man replaces Marvel Team Up. But then I got to go back and read almost 100 issues.
Adam, we're on that splash. I'm on the splash page. I think you're talking about. It's page 25 in digital. Where's the emblem? Because I think there's like a serial number on. Oh, there it is. I thought it was just like a barcode on there. Yeah, Osborn Stark Mark IV. Yeah.
Yep, that one. Yep.
George made a comment about this being like the Raimi Goblin, but better, and I kind of agree with him. It does remind me a lot of the Goblin armor from that movie, but with more purple. I think the purple added on enhances it drastically.
Yeah, I think the only problem with the Raimi Green Goblin is that they needed to break up the green. Other than that, I like it a lot.
You're a little too green, my guy.
Well, because because the original they show the suit when they show the suit pre Norman using it, it's black. So I think if they had kept some of that black in there, then people would be like, "Oh, okay."
Venkman's coming after you in the chat, Zach.
Yes, I know it's 150 issues, but I am at around issue 50 of Spec, so I know I'm going to have to read at least 100 issues of freaking Marvel Team Up. Anyway.
Also, I just realized that the bar Ben and Jonah at is called a bar with no name in the captions.
Yeah.
Also, I really like. I know we kind of talked about how much we like Jonah and Ben's dynamic and how they're going to go Brokeback Mountain later on, but I do like Jonah and Ben discussing the ethics and the moral obligation they have as journalists and as news tellers. Yeah, every once in a while you get some weirdo who goes, "Oh, I don't like politics or current affairs in my comics," but I like the idea that it's
pull me up.
Okay,
pull me up, blow me up, and then I'm gonna hit play.
You know what you should do is after you do this, you should upload it.
I'm gonna upload it up to the I'm gonna upload it to the website.
There's no noise. There's no noise, Zach. Zach, there's no noise.
You mean it's not coming through?
No.
Okay, hang on. Why isn't it coming through? That's not good. Settings. Audio.
Check the input.
Yeah. How about now? Does my audio sound better now? Because apparently I was using my MacBook Pro freaking microphone this whole time.
It sounds a little bit better.
All right. Let me hit play.
Zach perpetually getting cucked by his own microphone setup.
I hate it, man. Freaking pisses me off. Shut up, Neil. All right.
Hey guys, it's Javi. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight to talk about.
Do y'all hear it now?
Yes, I can hear it.
Okay.
So anyways, we're breaking into a segment. This is Javi. He's here to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man. Go.
This will be up on the YouTube channel later on.
About the new Ultimate Spider-Man comic. And no, not this Ultimate Spider-Man. We are talking about the brand new Hickman Checcetto Ultimate Spider-Man tonight. And I love this book. It wasn't something I was particularly ready for, I guess, or I don't know. I haven't really read Ultimate Invasion or whatever was leading up to this. I just really couldn't care less. But this book I love. I haven't read a lot of Hickman, but I really thought he told a captivating story. And as someone who loves the original, that's so weird to say, the original Ultimate Spider-Man, even the first issue, which I loved, has no Spider-Man in it. It takes you to issue 5.
Hang on, Zach, can you raise it a bit? I can only see Javi's forehead.
This is it's a longer issue. It's, I think, over 40 pages, but it does so much storytelling. And not having read any of the other stuff that preceded it, like it gives you a nice recap page to get you up to speed. And that was all I really needed because I'm familiar with these characters. So it cements the world or gives you an idea of what this world is. There are quite a few shocks and twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. Mainly spoilers. Uncle Ben is alive. That I was not ready for. I remember seeing that May died in whatever event the Maker did, but to have Uncle Ben back changes the dynamic for Spider-Man considerably. If you've ever read the What If Uncle Ben Had Lived, there's some shades of that in this issue, which I just reread recently for an episode of the Spider-Man book club. So that was kind of fun to see that come to life here. But where this book really succeeds is telling the story of this different Peter Parker who didn't get bit by the spider. So his life is considerably different. He's still with Mary Jane. He's still working at the Bugle, but everything's just different. And so this is more of like a hero's quest. This is like the Matrix, where, you know, Neo has to decide his destiny, but something doesn't feel right in the world, and he's aware of it, but he doesn't know what it is, so he's depressed. So we end the issue with him getting to being Spider-Man. And who is the catalyst for him being Spider-Man? Tony Stark. But that's okay because it's already been interfered with. It's kind of like the whole Flash and Flashpoint thing, but there's something, I don't know, there's something about this that I like because it is an alternate universe as opposed to the main one. So it doesn't bother me that his destiny was interfered with and Iron Man's helping him along because I don't know, there's just this journey of discovery, but now it's not a 15-year-old. He's like in his mid-30s. So it's going to be something interesting to see and go on the journey with this Peter, with this Spider-Man. Like, is he going to tell jokes as Spider-Man? I mean, that was something that the young kid who was insecure did when he felt the confidence of the mask. Is this older, more mature Peter going to be like that? Or is he going to be more serious? And we don't get a proper Spidey costume yet, even though they've been advertised all over the place. We get a black suit. Someone pointed out, and I forgive me for not remembering who, it's very similar to Secret Wars when he gets the black suit. But overall, I mean, Checcetto, I loved his stuff on Daredevil. I loved whenever he drew Spider-Man on Daredevil. So having him on this book, it's beautiful. Every character looks great and recognizable, even though they're slightly different. You don't really get to know Peter's kids too much, but I'm sure that's going to come in time. And we've seen married Peter Parker with a kid before, be it Mayday or Annie. This is something totally different. And yeah, I'm was getting a little fatigued with the spider corner of the universe, but this has reignited my interest, my passion for the character, and not only do we have this, but we're gonna have Spider-Men soon. So right now I am all in on this, and I can't wait to see where we go next. For me, this gets a solid A+, and I hope everyone else enjoys it at least half as much as I did, because I think there's a lot to love. And yeah, sorry I couldn't make it, guys, but hopefully I can catch you on the next time we talk Spidey. Take care.
And that is
Yay.
it. Good job, Javi.
Yay.
Yeah, good job.
Sorry, we
Well done.
sorry we ran into the ground. Sorry, Javi.
We ran into technical issues. I'm still learning Media Encoder, and I still didn't get it to the right format for StreamYard. So that's my bad.
Zach, since you've been talking about sports all night, did you hear that the Clippers Intuit Dome is letting people smoke marijuana and cigarettes in its own designated section? Sporting events are so back, baby. Now you can throw cigarettes at the athletes like the old days.
Well, I mean, look, the Clippers needed their own arena. They've been sharing the what used to be the Staples Center, but now it's, I think, I don't even remember what the name of it is now. But so I knew that the Clippers were going to get their own basketball. So I'm not surprised. I don't think it's open though yet.
It's not. But I saw a picture of it under construction with the new like designated smoking area.
Oh boy.
This generation yearns for cigs inside.
Well, I mean, yeah. So for those of you that were not watching the game, the San Francisco 49ers defeated the Green Bay Packers.
I think to close it out, I think Ultimate Peter 6160 would smoke indoors during a Clippers match. I had to bring it back to Spider-Man somehow to wrap it up.
Oh my god! All right, Adam, your final thoughts for the issue.
Great start. I think I loved it. Maybe. Beautiful art.
Listen, you can't love things anymore, Adam. You either have to like them or hate them. You can't be too positive about things.
Yeah, change is good. If you want change, if you're ready for a change, give this a shot. Might be what you're looking for.
Yeah, I look, to me it's a great start. It's gonna be weird. I'm so used to getting twice a month Spider-Man. So for me,
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for issue 2, honestly.
I'm ready for monthly Spider-Man.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna go 18 issues a year, like the original. That would be kind of interesting.
I don't think
I don't know if Checcetto can push himself that hard though. I don't know how much lead time he got on this, but no, I think it's a great book. I think this is a book that deserves its flowers that it's getting right now. I think Hickman's got a solid voice for the character. MJ feels great. Ben feels great. Jonah walks that edge, and all the best Jonah writers do that. They got to walk that.
He tightropes that shit.
He tightropes between being the caricature of Jonah and being just the grumpy curmudgeon. Just like I'm the grumpy curmudgeon when my audio input is not working correctly and I am having my ever so forever war on technology that I have struggled with since the beginning of this network. Speaking of the beginning of this network, it's a bad segue, but we're going to wrap this episode up. Our patrons, friends over on patreon.com/Spideydude Network. And we got Allison, Cindy, Ed, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Jurgen, Catherine, Kale, Laura Howard, Lump Moose, Master Dram, Phoenician, Scott, Vanessa, Vicky, and Winnipeg Webhead. Thank you guys for your support over as Sensationals here, patrons. Spectacular Sarah, and then we have our VIPs, Scott McGraw, Sebastian, and Venkman. Thank you guys for your support. Speaking of the early show that started it all way back when, Clone Saga Chronicles, you can find that that and Spectacular Radio are a part of our Vault series. All these shows will be up on Spidey-Dude.com. Javi and Jack. So speaking of Javi, he has his show, Amazing Spider-Man Classics. Got new episodes dropping soon. Got Sabi Cinema Era podcasts with the Web of Music podcast. That is the show within a show on the same feed. And then Voices from the Eyrie is going to be returning. But the Kickstarter, they'll be talking about the Kickstarter and everything going on with that in the next episode. And the Slot Symposium. Have we released that? Yes, I released that. I'm sorry. We released the latest episode.
Yeah, we did.
New Ways to Die.
Yeah,
and
New Ways to Die.
So
good one.
That's our episode for the month. We will be back next month with some more. We're going to be covering 600 next month. Books of X going to be returning later on this month, maybe into the next month. We'll see.
Yeah, the main issue has just been either getting Zach to read the books or me being free to talk about the books. And whenever
I've read the books,
we keep forgetting.
It's just been I've read the books, but it's been a while. I need to reread the books so that way I'm fresh on it. Make My Mayday going to return probably next month. I just don't see us getting together between now and the end of January, so we'll start back up in February. And then if you have not,
oh yeah, I made a new closer overlay. Let's go, baby!
Yay!
Yes, this is the new one. We gotta give some flowers to Neil. He's done a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I really do appreciate. You can find us at Spideydude Radio on X/Twitter. We got Facebook.com/Spideydude Network. Instagram.com is also the same one. The Patreon page, Spideydude Network. Here on YouTube, if you've not already subscribed, if you're listening to the audio edition, you can find us on YouTube.com/Spideydude Radio Network. And if you want your voice to be heard on the program, you can always leave us a voicemail. 818-925-6631. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you're watching us live. We'll see you next time here on the Spideydude Radio Network.